1, 2, 3.
The bigger picture. That is what you Hollywood stand for.
I push myself every single day to make
It's beyond anything else.
Hello folks, I'm Tommy in C2010. Today we're back on another exclusive episode of Tommy Talks, and today I'm interviewing my father, successful real estate agent, successful, insurance agent. So I just decided I'd like to interview my father here today. So, okay. So how are you doing there today, Dad?
I'm doing fine.
How's your day been?
Well, you know, we've been down here setting up in a beautiful 300-acre tract owned by one of our neighbors. It's an absentee owner. And we're getting ready to have some friends from the community come down and join us for some hamburgers put on the grill. And then might do a little overnight camping. We brought the tents with us. So the temperature's going to drop down into the 30s tonight, but not too bad. So we're looking forward to a good time with family and friends over some barbecue and maybe followed up by some camping a little bit later. Otherwise, feel good today. I mean, this is, I don't know if your friends know, but I'm fighting a battle with leukemia, which is a pretty nasty one because the white cells are bad, and I've got an inverted number 3 chromosome, so it's going to be a real challenge. I got to get to a transplant in order to be able to survive that much longer. But meanwhile, quality of life is really good, enjoying family and friends, and I'll just leave the rest of it up to God.
I understand. So, so the main question here, you know, you've done so much work in your life. What was your first job that you did when, like, as a young man?
Well, like most kids, you know, you do a little bit of work in school. I had part-time jobs while I was still in high school. I worked at a Texaco station, pumping gas, changing oil, fixing flat tires, and then I got a job at Orlando's only office and business supply store at the time, and it was before all the big box stores came along. And I was working there after school, after football, and then I did a little work with my dad. My dad was a truck driver, and whenever he was delivering local, then I had a chance to learn how to work with him off the truck, you know, and deliver freight and merchandise around town. But he was also a long-haul truck driver, and sometimes we didn't get to see him for a week, 10 days at a time. But he always took good care of us.
Understand. When did you want exactly be? When did you first get into insurance? When did you first get into that?
Well, I spent several years in college, junior college, and then what was called Florida Technological University before it became University of Central Florida. And I really hadn't made up my mind what I wanted to do. And my mom was an independent insurance agent, and encouraged me to go to work with her. And so I got a license with insurance, but ended up going to work with Nationwide Insurance instead. Not as an independent, I was an independent contractor, but not as an independent agent. It was an exclusive relationship. And I really enjoyed that because then you only had to pretty much serve one master. You learned all the rules from one company, and they were able to take care of all of your clients' needs back then. So it made it a lot easier for me, and I really enjoyed it. And then stayed in that for 29 years.
What was the hardest part? What would you say the hardest part? Because I understand that for those years, you built up that office in Orlando, Florida, and you received so many awards for working and there? And
Well, you give me way too much credit. Dee and I were our own first customers, so we
Really?
started a scratch operation, and we built it to a really nice operation. I owned a building. I had several staff workers in the office and a few sub-agents working with me at the same time. So we did really good, and still had room on the second side to provide a platform for people who were aspiring business people, for entrepreneurs that didn't have the money to get started really by affording office space and all. I had an extra office I'd let them work out of until they outgrew it, and they didn't have to do anything but pay for the electricity on that side of the building. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun for 29 years, and then long-term plan was to move up here with you guys up to the mountains of North Carolina where we're at right now.
yeah,
And so we bought property back in the mid-1990s up here in beautiful mountains, Black Mountain, North Carolina, and with a plan that someday we'd build a cabin on it, which is what we did in 2004, and we've been up here ever since.
wow. And from there, I know that the economy kind of took a nosedive, and you had to step back into the field of real estate. Was that easy for you?
Well, I was in insurance in Florida, in real estate up here, because the guy that sold us our property years earlier, after we'd built our home up here, he called me because I was just up here, retired pretty much, playing on our 13 acres, cutting in hiking trails by the creek and all that other stuff. And he called me one day and said, you remember telling me when we were looking for property for you, that if you ever went back to work up here, you thought you might enjoy trying to help other people find their dream properties as well. And I remember telling him that, so that got me into real estate licensing school. I ended up not actually going to work with this gentleman because he'd offered me a position in a high-end development.
That was Chip, am I right?
Yep. And so I ended up going to work with Coldwell Banker because, again, they resembled Nationwide Insurance back in the day when you could take care of everybody's needs, their commercial needs, their residential needs, and all that under one roof, one name, one brand, and it's Coldwell Banker. So I've been with Coldwell Banker ever since. And I still do a little, even though I'm fighting the battle with cancer, we've got a really good relationship with my firm's owner. I've served in a lot of different capacities there at Coldwell Banker, from being a broker, just working with buyers and sellers, to being a broker in charge with 60 people in our Asheville office. Half of those being what we call unseasoned agents, and the other half being seasoned agents. And it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, but I got to tell you, there's nothing that feels better than trying to help your new agents earn their first paychecks, and that's a reward beyond compensation. So felt really good about the things I was doing, and I'm still enjoying helping contract reviews, making sure all of our documents are in order so that when our brokers go to closing, that the transaction actually does close, and our people are very happy with our services, and our brokers actually end up getting a paycheck.
Now, through each of these fields, what is the one thing that you feel like you have succeeded in, and that of your work? What does it feel like you have succeeded in most of these fields?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, is as good as it was to help people with their insurance needs back in Florida, it's helping them make sure that they had money to cover all the things that might happen in their life, where they have property loss or liability losses and so forth. That was a good feeling, and of course life insurance, health insurance and things, we did that back then too, so I felt good about all of that, helping them organize their life financially. But I think the biggest joy I've had is since I've been in real estate, and honestly I would probably work for free for the opportunity to help our brokers, counsel with them, and help make sure that they've got everything in order so that those new guys coming on the block get their first paychecks rolling in, and then we keep that coming in consistently. It's just so satisfying to help them negotiate their deals and see them generate the kind of income that they were hoping for.
And if you had any advice to any young real estate agents or young insurance agents, what advice would you give them?
Well, I've been out of the insurance business now since 2004, so I wouldn't be offering them any advice, but anytime you're in a service industry, like insurance, because we provide a service. Same thing with real estate. We provide a service. In fact, real estate agents typically help people with their largest purchase of their lifetime when they buy their home.
Mm-hmm.
Got to help make sure they're making good decisions. You got to advocate for your client and make sure that you're doing the best possible job to help them understand what it is that they're purchasing, and that it's a good value, and just helping them make sure they're making good decisions about the most expensive acquisition that they'll ever make in their life. And that's very important, and it's very rewarding to know that when you close on a deal with your buyer or your seller client, that you give them your best effort and help make that transaction work for them the best way it possibly can.
I understand. And I think the one thing I have to say to you is, you have given me and Sean both a great life, and you have able to, so we could go to good schools, and I have to say that I had to thank you and Mom for everything you guys have done, and because me and Sean wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for you and the hard work. That we wouldn't have the clothes or any of the things that we've had today if it wasn't for you and Mom.
Tommy, that works two ways. I know that you appreciate what we've done for you, but we didn't do that because we wanted to feel good about ourselves. We did that because God impressed upon us that this is what we needed to do. And I tell you, we have been so blessed to have you guys as our family. And I've probably learned as much from you guys just as you guys have ever learned from me. And I think that's important, is that you don't go into anything with an attitude that I know it all. And I certainly didn't know it all as a father. I've made a lot of mistakes, a lot of things I wish I could take back and do over, but that doesn't happen in life very often.
I understand.
But I appreciate your comments, and if you're happy with the life we've been able to help you with, and the goals we've helped you achieve, and the way you've got your life structured, then that makes me extremely, extremely pleased, and I'm proud to call you my son.
I'm proud to call you my dad. And I think I'll just end this one. Well, folks, I just want to say thank you for this thank you for listening to this exclusive interview. As always, folks, I'm Tommy NC 2010, and I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Subscribe, support, stay positive.